The Earth is a living planet. Forests breathe, oceans move, ice caps glisten under the sun, and storms sweep across continents. For billions of years, nature balanced itself. But now, the balance is shifting. Climate change is the defining challenge of our time. Rising temperatures, melting glaciers, wildfires, and floods are reminders of a planet under stress. Yet this story is not only about crisis. It is also about possibility. Across the globe, scientists, engineers, and innovators are designing technologies that could protect our world and reshape our future. From clean energy to carbon capture, from artificial intelligence to sustainable farming, solutions are emerging. This is the story of the climate challenge and how innovation can save the future of our planet. To understand the challenge, we must first ask, what is climate change? Climate is the long-term pattern of weather across the planet. It includes average temperature, rainfall, and wind patterns. For most of human history, climate has been stable. This stability allowed agriculture, cities, and civilizations to grow. But since the Industrial Revolution, humans have burned vast amounts of coal, oil, and natural gas. These fuels release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. These gases trap heat in the atmosphere, like a blanket around the Earth. The result is global warming. Since the late 19th century, the average global temperature has risen by about 1 degree Celsius. That may sound small, but it has enormous effects. More heat means stronger storms, rising seas, and shifting ecosystems. Climate change is no longer distant. It is here, and it is accelerating. Evidence for climate change comes from multiple sources. Satellites measure shrinking ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. Ocean buoys record rising sea levels. Weather stations track hotter summers and warmer winters. Glaciers retreat. Coral reefs bleach. Wildfires intensify. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, brings together thousands of scientists from around the world. Their reports confirm that human activity is the primary driver of climate change. Without action, global temperatures could rise by 3 or 4 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Such warming would disrupt food supplies, displace millions of people, and cause irreversible damage to ecosystems. The science is clear. The challenge is urgent, but solutions are possible. Energy is at the heart of the climate challenge. Fossil fuels power our cars, factories, and homes. They also produce most greenhouse gas emissions. The solution is clean energy. Solar power, wind turbines, hydropower, and geothermal energy provide electricity without carbon emissions. Costs have dropped dramatically. In many regions, solar and wind are now cheaper than coal or gas. Countries are investing in vast solar farms in deserts, offshore wind farms in oceans, and hydroelectric projects in rivers. Battery technology is improving, allowing renewable energy to be stored for when the sun is not shining or the wind is not blowing. The renewable energy revolution is not a distant dream. It is happening now, and it is key to saving our planet. Cars, trucks, ships, and airplanes are major sources of carbon emissions. Changing how we move is essential. Electric vehicles are growing rapidly. Companies from Tesla to General Motors are producing affordable models. Charging networks are expanding across highways and cities. Public transportation is being reinvented with electric buses and high-speed trains. In aviation, researchers are developing sustainable fuels and even exploring hydrogen-powered aircraft. Innovation in transportation is not only about reducing emissions, it is also about cleaner air, quieter cities, and healthier lives. The journey towards sustainable mobility is already underway. Agriculture feeds billions of people, but it also contributes about 1/4 of greenhouse gas emissions. Farming releases methane from livestock and nitrous oxide from fertilizers. Innovation is transforming food production. Vertical farms use artificial light and controlled environments to grow crops in cities, reducing land and water use. Precision agriculture uses drones, sensors, and artificial intelligence to optimize planting and irrigation. Plant-based proteins and lab-grown meat offer alternatives that reduce pressure on land and animals. These foods are reaching supermarkets and restaurants worldwide. Sustainable farming is not only about cutting emissions. It is about ensuring that future generations can eat in a changing world. Even if emissions stop tomorrow, greenhouse gases already in the atmosphere will continue warming the planet. That is why scientists are developing technologies to capture and store carbon. Carbon capture plants pull carbon dioxide from factory smokestacks and inject it underground. Direct air capture machines remove carbon dioxide directly from the air. Nature also plays a role. Planting forests, restoring wetlands, and protecting mangroves absorb carbon naturally. These ecosystems provide habitats for wildlife while storing greenhouse gases safely. Carbon capture is not a silver bullet, but combined with clean energy, it can help balance the climate. Artificial intelligence is emerging as a powerful tool in the climate fight. AI models predict extreme weather with greater accuracy, giving communities more time to prepare. Machine learning optimizes energy grids, balancing supply and demand in real time. In agriculture, AI analyzes soil data to reduce fertilizer use. In industry, it monitors factories to cut waste and emissions. AI also helps scientists design new materials, from better solar panels to more efficient batteries. By merging digital technology with sustainability, artificial intelligence is accelerating solutions at global scale. The climate challenge cannot be solved by one country alone. It requires global cooperation. The Paris Agreement of 2015 brought nations together with a goal to limit warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. Countries pledged to cut emissions, invest in clean technology, and support vulnerable regions. Youth movements, local governments, and businesses are also playing vital roles. Cities adopt green building codes. Companies commit to carbon neutrality. Citizens demand sustainable choices. The challenge is immense. But the collective response is growing. The future will be shaped by the choices we make now. The climate challenge is real, it is urgent, but it is not hopeless. Through science, innovation, and determination, humanity can rewrite the future. Clean energy, sustainable food, artificial intelligence, and global cooperation offer a path forward. The question is not whether we can save our planet. The question is whether we will choose to act in time. The story of climate change begins long before the industrial age. For thousands of years, Earth's temperature rose and fell naturally. Ice ages came and went. Volcanic eruptions, solar cycles, and ocean currents shaped the climate. But nothing in the planet's history compares to the rapid warming of the last 2 centuries. The rise of coal and steam power in the 18th century marked the turning point. By the 20th century, oil and automobiles accelerated emissions dramatically. Scientists like Svante Arrhenius and Charles Keeling warned of the greenhouse effect decades before it became public debate. Keeling's measurements from Hawaii's Mauna Loa Observatory in the 1950s showed a clear upward curve of carbon dioxide, now called the Keeling curve. That line has never stopped climbing. Today, carbon dioxide levels are higher than at any point in the past 3 million years. Humanity has become a geological force reshaping the planet faster than nature itself. The planet speaks in numbers and in images. Glaciers that once filled valleys in the Himalayas have shrunk dramatically. The Arctic sea ice that reflected sunlight into space is melting, exposing dark ocean water that absorbs more heat. Wildfires now burn longer and hotter, releasing billions of tons of carbon each year. Droughts parch once fertile lands, while floods devastate others. In oceans, coral reefs home to 1/4 of marine life are bleaching as temperatures rise. Fisheries collapse, affecting the livelihoods of millions. Even the rhythm of seasons is shifting. Spring arrives earlier, and animals migrate to new territories, chasing cooler climates. Climate change is not only a scientific chart, it is a living story written across landscapes, species, and human experience. Energy shapes every part of modern civilization. from the electricity that powers hospitals to the fuel that drives global trade. Today, nearly 80% of the world's energy still comes from fossil fuels. Changing that foundation requires not just new technology, but a complete reimagining of how societies generate, distribute, and consume power. Countries like Denmark, Morocco, and Australia now generate large portions of their electricity from wind and solar. In the United States, renewable energy employment already exceeds jobs in coal mining. Offshore wind farms rise like forests of steel, and desert solar arrays stretch to the horizon. Next-generation innovations are transforming this field: floating solar panels on reservoirs, tidal energy harnessing the power of the oceans, and geothermal plants tapping Earth's inner heat. Meanwhile, scientists are pursuing the ultimate clean energy source: nuclear fusion, replicating the reactions that power the sun. Fusion promises limitless energy with no carbon emissions and minimal waste. The first experimental reactors are now being tested in France and the United States. The Great Transition is no longer hypothetical. It is underway. Urban areas produce over 70% of global emissions. The way cities evolve will define the planet's future. Smart city design is reshaping mobility. Streets are being redesigned for pedestrians and bicycles. Electric buses glide silently through downtowns once choked by diesel. Ride-sharing systems and driverless shuttles reduce congestion. In cities like Oslo and Singapore, digital systems monitor traffic flow and air quality in real time, using artificial intelligence to reduce pollution. Some cities are experimenting with urban forests, planting thousands of trees to cool neighborhoods and absorb carbon. Green roofs, solar canopies, and rainwater harvesting systems are becoming standard in new architecture. Transportation is more than movement. It is the circulatory system of civilization, and re-engineering it could clean the air of entire nations. While much attention is on the land, the ocean is the true engine of Earth's climate. It absorbs over 90% of excess heat and a quarter of carbon emissions. But this protection comes at a cost. As oceans warm, their chemistry changes. Carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, forming carbonic acid and lowering the pH, a process called ocean acidification. This threatens shellfish, corals, and plankton that form the base of the marine food web. Scientists are exploring ocean-based solutions. Blue carbon projects restore mangroves and seagrasses that trap carbon more efficiently than tropical forests. Algae farms could produce sustainable biofuels while capturing carbon naturally. Protecting the ocean is not separate from fighting climate change. It is the front line of the battle. A renewable world needs reliable storage. Sunlight fades, wind calms, and demand fluctuates. Batteries bridge this gap. Another frontier is green hydrogen. Using renewable electricity to split water molecules, hydrogen can store energy for months and power heavy industries, ships, and aircraft. Countries such as Japan, Germany, and Australia are building entire hydrogen economies, investing billions in pipelines, storage, and refueling stations. Hydrogen could become the missing link between renewable generation and global energy security. Beyond efficiency, AI is transforming climate science itself. Supercomputers now process petabytes of environmental data, creating high-resolution climate models that forecast local impacts decades ahead. Machine learning algorithms identify patterns invisible to humans, predicting where droughts will strike, how storms will intensify, and when crops will fail. These forecasts help farmers, engineers, and policymakers act before disaster strikes. AI also monitors illegal deforestation via satellite imagery and guides drones that plant trees in minutes. Through artificial intelligence, humanity gains the ability not just to react to climate change, but to anticipate it. Climate change is not just about temperature. It is about people. Rising seas threaten island nations like the Maldives and Kiribati. Prolonged droughts drive migration from Africa to Europe. Wildfires destroy communities in California and Australia alike. For the world's poorest, who contribute least to the problem, the impacts are often the most severe. This growing inequality has become known as the climate divide. Richer nations have the means to adapt, building seawalls, relocating communities, or developing green infrastructure. Poorer nations often lack such resources. Global cooperation must therefore include fairness, financial aid, technology sharing, and climate justice for those most affected. The fight for the planet is also a fight for equality. Throughout history, humans have faced crises, famine, war, disease, and turned them into opportunities for progress. Climate change may be the greatest test yet, but it also reveals humanity's creativity and resilience. From young inventors designing ocean cleanup systems to indigenous communities reviving ancient farming wisdom, innovation takes many forms. It is solar panels on African schools, wind farms on American plains, floating homes in flood-prone Asian deltas. Every solution begins with imagination, the courage to believe that science, technology, and cooperation can rewrite our destiny. As one generation leaves the next a warmer planet, it can also leave a blueprint for renewal. The tools exist. The question is whether we will use them. If you found value in this journey, subscribe for more explorations into science, discovery, and the future of our world.